What is going on out there, peeps? The other day I did a video about Virginia Thomas. This is, of course, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas' wife. The news had released some text that she sent to Mark Meadows, allegedly. They were very interesting to say the least, but there's a lot of other things going on in the video. I was just trying to make a point. You know, unfortunately, I had to single a person out. I wasn't purposely trying to single any one person out, but they just happen to be what I use as an example to make my points. People have been sending me links to that video that Santa Surfing put out. They were using that as their proof that people were in Get Moe. But as I watched the video, I realized what was going on. It was misleading, and so I wanted to respond to it. I've had several people ask me about Wano Savin, and I just quickly responded to him. I didn't really have any kind of comment on him. I know a lot of people have asked me about him. I said, I'm aware who he is. I heard about him before. The only thing that bugged me about him was when he does his videos, for some reason he hides from the camera. Not that it's a big deal, but I'm just one of those things. You know, if the guy's going to talk, I was curious. I wanted to, you know, when you're watching a video, you want to kind of see the person speak. And I mean, the last thing you want to do is watch a video with the back of somebody's head or somebody's boots. So it's no big deal. I mean, that's just my little thing. But I just mentioned it in the video. And then I got some very interesting responses about that. So I want to cover that as well. But as usual, when I put out a video that has a strong viewing and a strong reaction, I like to come back and check out the comments and respond to the comments and answer any questions that might be there to the best of my ability. So this will just be a part 2 of this video or a follow-up. Before we get started, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. Right now is a great time to be buying gold and silver. And when you do, go check out our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you'll get a free half ounce of silver. All right, let's get started. I like this one. You like how I had to put Get Moe? I'm not even kidding you. When I put the real word in there, it was flagged. I was like, it's not a red flag, it was a yellow flag. I was like, what the heck am I getting flagged for? And I was like, okay. Yeah. So there are certain topics that are touched on by the 17th letter movement or anybody that's a supporter of 45, Nasera Jacera movements, anything like that. They get flagged now automatically because of all the cockadoodle stories that are out there. So that's what it was. And sometimes you got to get a little clever to get your message out. And that's what I had to do. All right, so let's get into the comments. All right, from looks like T. Buckner. What's it say? No one knows nor understands everything. We are not meant to. The truth is there for those with eyes to see, ears to hear, and a humble heart. Thanks for what you do and bring to the table. T. Buckner, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. You know, it's just my opinion. Everybody's got their own opinions. You know, they were saying opinions are like a-holes. Everybody's got one, you know. But I appreciate you tuning in. Jolly. This is what I like about you, Pimpy, and the reason why I still follow you. You watch people listen to anything until they give you a reason not to. Absolutely. Here's my thing. If you've been following some of these people now for a long time, you should know by now, or you should be at least aware whether they're full of crap or not. A lot of people tune in just because they like all the fantasy and all the stories, even though they know they're BS, or they like the escapism is a good word I believe my friend Nate used to use. Thank you for speaking truth. We need more people like you. I appreciate the kind words. Not everybody will agree with you, that's for sure. I come on here and I say, hey, look, this is my opinion. This is what I see. The interesting thing is I'd offered several times to use my platform. I don't mind having a conversation. I don't want to sit there and get in a piss match back and forth, because I do believe for the most part, most people are trying to achieve the same goal, and that is to try to get as much information out as possible. But for me, it's just a matter of it's trying to get the most truthful information out. So many truthers are out there that we have never seen their faces. It's about the message, the information. It just has always made sense to me. X22 always makes sense. Yeah, I actually like Dave, X22. Here, let me see if I could put it in a way that people might understand. What I've learned about YouTubers is this: when you first start out, you're 100% committed, you're all in, you're trying to be truthful, you're trying to share information, you're giving people your opinion. But as the subscribers start to build, I start to notice changes in people. Now all of a sudden they're trying to go that extra mile to outdo the last story that they did. And the stories start to become more and more elaborate. And I'm like, why are you doing that? I don't get it. You have a conversation with them and you can hear all the time, they're like, my views, my subscribers, my views, my subscribers. My thing is, if you just go out there, give your opinion, and be truthful, all that will come on its own. But you can see why they feel that way, because a lot of these guys got like 100, 150, 200,000 subscribers. Their videos get 10, 15, 20,000 views. There's a lot of people that create YouTube videos for a living. To them, I'm sure there's a lot of stress. But for me, that doesn't give you an excuse to purposely go out of your way and mislead people or lie, especially with the subjects that we cover. And especially in these times, it's real important that we try to get out as much of the truth as possible, because we can't rely on mainstream media. There's no way in heck. One thing is for certain: there are certain political figures and entertainers that don't make their usual appearances compared to before COVID. Robert, here's what I think it is, because I did notice that a little bit. I think some of these people, they're a little paranoid about the virus that's going around. A lot of people believe it and they are afraid. They believe what the media is telling them, and they just don't get out as much. Wisdom, knowledge, lover. Interesting name. I like it. How in the world could Santa have overlooked something so obvious? What would be her reason to mislead others? Hard to understand. Yeah, again, I can't even pretend to try to put myself into the mind of other YouTubers when people are doing this for a living and they're so reliant on the income that comes from YouTube, and they need to build up their subscriber base, and they need to get their views up just so they can make a living. I'm not defending her, and I'm not saying that's her excuse. To each their own. Some people feel like they got to get out there and just lie. Um, there's this other lady that Truth Seeker was just roasting in the video. I believe she goes by the name of Lady Bird. She's claiming that she's going down in the tunnels rescuing kids, and she works directly with Trump. I was like, what the heck? Are you serious? YouTube brings out some very interesting people. You know what I mean? She was like adamant. She was cussing out him because he made a video about her. She was saying, "I'm down there, and I know you're one of the pedals." And what are you talking about? They literally fabricated fake documents claiming that M was wanted for pedophilia. Since they couldn't find his real name, I kid you not, what they put on there is the so and so intelligence agencies is looking for it, and it said on there M Truth Seeker for pedophilia. Yeah, because that's what government officials do. They go out looking for somebody's nickname. It was ridiculous. But the whole fact that they went out of the way to fabricate documentation to try to smear him and discredit him, because he does a great job of exposing them for the fakes that they are. What's that say about those individuals? Thank you for making this. You are very welcome. They should not be pushing us. They work for us, and we should take back our power as we the people. I agree 100%. I've been preaching that now for 2 years. The problem is I started getting so carried away with the way I was preaching it that I started getting zapped by YouTube. If you go on Dave Cares For You on YouTube, that's Dave Jose. He's doing a phenomenal job of explaining what our constitutional rights are and what it is we can do, the kind of stands we can make. And it's working wonders, because he's got his own little army of people that are using the Constitution to get results with our politicians. Thank you for clarifying about Get Moe. You are very welcome. At one time, I was working with a group of people that are actually covering the trials over there on Get Moe, and they're actively there now. They are literally over there covering these. So they would know. Plus, the person that would be giving us the passes to go to Get Moe works for the Department of Defense. I asked, so when I tell people this, they go, well, maybe they don't want to tell you. Maybe they're deep state. Maybe it's like, no matter what I say, they're going to have this rebuttal as to why that story is right and I'm wrong. Pimpy, let me remind you that the Constitution has been rewritten illegally. We are not under the original Constitution because we were a republic on the original Constitution. We are now or have been a corporation for many years. This is what we got rid of. So I know that you are a very intelligent man, but you got to look into things in a different way. I'm not saying that you have to believe that everything in your research is bad, but common sense would tell you that the potential Jerry Court Justice Postal Judge Christopher is now working hard to actually close down every court in the land that is illegal and all the languages be corrected. Oh, no, no, no. I know who you're talking about, George. This is like the other Postmaster General. So for you guys to know, I know the guy. You guys hear me pick on him, Russell J. Full. Well, there's other people out there besides Russell J. Full that is claiming to be the Postmaster General. So there's another person out there, Christopher. He's got his own YouTube channel. He's claiming, yeah, at one time he was claiming to be the Postmaster General. And I told everybody, well, then I'm the Postmaster General of the universe, and it was an ongoing joke for the longest time. So, no, Christopher's not going to do anything, George. I'm telling you right now, just like people say, yeah, Russell owns the flag and he's running the government while he's doing a piss poor job. Even, let me just run something past you, George. Even if what these people were saying were true, let's just entertain the thought for a minute. Russell J. Full, let's just say he is who he says he is. Now what? What could he do? Nothing. He has no power. No military will follow him. No politician will listen to him. I can tell you that all the court cases that he's been in, the ones that he's claiming that he won, he didn't win. I could tell you the rebuttals from the judges are scorching against this guy. The FBI labels him as what they call a paper terrorist, that he clogs the court systems with frivolous lawsuits in hopes of just getting them dismissed. They get dismissed, all right, but not in his favor. But I do think it's interesting when people say this all the time to me. Do your research, use common sense. But then they come at me with somebody like Mark Christopher or Russell J. Full. And I believe there's a woman, she's out there too. But I know Russell J. Full, and I know who Mark Christopher is, and it's all the same thing, syntax language. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. There's, in my opinion, there is somewhere in at least contract law where this could be applied and used. But as far as the power of Mark Christopher or Russell J. Full, yeah, my dog has more power than they do. Great show, Pimpsters. I love you, bro. Right back at you. George, good grief. The point being that news about the emails is fantastic. And a news organization with high viewership is showing some outrageous sounding words, which does affect people's judgments. Santa is just trying to make sense of what's happening when everything appears to be lies. Don't get me wrong. I've had to go around with her and I hear certain buzz. It looks like, I think he got cut off. I try to give her the benefit of the doubt, say maybe there was a misunderstanding, but no, there's just no way anybody can have that misunderstanding. She went out of her way to make it look like Fox News, who does have a very high viewership, was announcing that news. But instead, all they were doing was reading the texts that were coming from Virginia Thomas, which that in itself is a whole interesting thing. Because when I first heard about him, I was like, what the hell is she texting? And you would make, now here's the thing, you would make that assumption that since she's the Supreme Court Justice's wife, that she must somehow, some way have inside information. But the truth of the matter is it don't. When I worked with the Democrats, and yes, I did, don't hold it against me, but I worked with Senator Reid. How much does Clarence Thomas really know about what's going on? There's people out there that would assume that he does know what's going on and he's aware of everything that's going on just because he's a Supreme Court Justice. But that might not be the truth. It might be that he has no idea. One thing I can tell you about Clarence Thomas is he's a very private man. I'm not saying that he doesn't know anything, but what I'm saying is I don't think Judge Thomas would even entertain going down that path just because I'm sure it probably comes across to him as something kooky, so he wouldn't even waste his time. It was mind blowing to see those texts coming from her. The first thing that crossed my mind is, wow, she's a huge fan of the 17th letter. Now, what really would have been mind blowing is if Mark Meadows responded with something similar. Now, that would have been really mind blowing. The funny thing is, when people try to challenge me, they say something, do your research, do this. Like one person said, well, then why the hell do we expand Get Moe? Why is there courthouses? Why are there more jail cells? And I was like, because we got 6 makeshift prisons around in other countries holding thousands of ISIS fighters. I know for a fact that there's 400 of them that Trump wanted, and there's just no room at Get Moe. So that was the purpose of expanding it. He was ready to go to work on these ISIS members. Now, look, when it comes to Santa, if she gives people hope, then fine. You know what I mean? Good. That's a good thing. People listen to her and they feel hopeful. Who am I to pee in their Wheaties? It's good. That's a good thing. My concern is when people are feeling hopeful and they're anticipating for a date, a time, an action, an event, and they don't happen over and over again, then it really discredits and takes away from the entire movement altogether. That's the thing that I'm talking about. We heard so many times writings on the back screen, or the 800 redemption numbers and the redemption centers, or the JFK in Dallas and JFK on July the 4th. And, it's like, oh my gosh, when people keep saying that over and over and it doesn't happen. We know for sure that there was a person that was a listener to one of the YouTubers committed suicide over this. They were too depressed. They were anticipating justice coming, and it didn't come. As a content creator myself, I feel a sense of responsibility. If you have individuals who listen to your video, they listen to every word you say, you have to be careful about what you say. I mean, I'm joking around and I'm silly, but I wouldn't go out of my way to mislead people. That's terrible, especially when people are scared, and they are. And they're waiting for somebody to come and save them from all the crap that's going on out there. You're the best. Love you, kid. Right back at you. What does they get more? Heck, get him and thanks to Quadrillion. Thanks to our selfless boys and girls worldwide. Steph and I agree. There's a lot of people out there that are really trying to find the truth, share the truth. Pimpy is so out there. Wow. No, I'm right here. Pretty much what he's telling us is everybody lies to us. Every single person out there is lying to us. Well, I want to know. I won't say. I don't want people to think that I'm saying everybody's lying to you. I mean, let's be honest. We all know the group of people that are out there. Some of them I would say are exaggerating. Some of them are making up story. Yeah, well, some of them. Yeah, okay. So a lot of them are lying. Let's put it that way. But I'm not saying everybody. There are YouTubers out there that are doing their best to bring honest news to you. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Rice from Rice TV. Rice does awesome shows. He really does. That man covers so many different topics, and he has such great interviews. And I'm just surprised this channel is not much bigger than it is. Great work that he does. I mean, he really does his research. He's well read into the subject matters. So there's people like Rice that are going out there doing his best to bring information to people. Truth Seeker is out there with his group of people, like him or not. He's exposing people who are grifters, people who are lying. I like what he does. I think it's entertaining. There's lots of people out there. There's Anya from Poland. I love her YouTube channel. You have April and AJ. They have an interesting channel. You can go on there. They bring all kinds of different subjects to you. They're not for everybody because the subjects that they talk about are not for everybody. They're not going out there and lying and making things up. They just have great interviews. So there is a number of different people. I'm sure I'm going to leave somebody out and, and get my butt kicked later on. You have Clinton Westwood out with Litecoin Lisa. I mean, those people are bringing subjects to you. So not that I want to go down this huge list, but the point being, there are some individuals out there who are not going out of their way to mislead people. They're far and in between, in my opinion, but they're definitely out there. The star and the CPAC logo, been hearing this for a long time. Another 4 weeks, and then it'll be another 4 weeks after that. Someone help me to not lose hope. I'm going to zero in on you just a little bit. I hope you don't mind. But you are actually making the point that I was just trying to make. See, here's Ann. Listen to what Ann's saying in her post. She's telling you she's been hearing this and she's been hearing that, and the can just keeps getting kicked down the road. When people start saying on this date or this weekend, I remember when everybody's like 45s and they'll go back in the office on this day. I was like, well, this will be interesting. 45 is going to actually be on this day. When they were saying, oh, he's still in charge with the military for another 60 or 90 days, they actually gave me the executive order that talks about it. But when you go and you read the executive order, nowhere in there does it say that the president continues to have control of the military for another 60 or 90 days. And I pointed it out. And as usual, since I'm showing you guys the truth, I'm the bad guy and everybody hates me. So, it's just crazy. But Anne's right. A lot of people hear this and they're starting to lose hope. And that's what I don't want to happen. When people keep misleading you and lying to you, you will lose hope. Some people to the point of suicide. I've walked several people off the ledge before. So I understand. People in the 17th letter movement seem to get really mean when you don't agree with them. People need to use some discernment. Yeah, Don, I could personally attest to that. I mean, I've been. Usually, what happens, Don, just so you know, people go, "Oh, Pimpy, look at this video," and then several people send me the same video. I say, "What am I looking at? What are we doing here?" "Oh, this is what's being reported." And so I watch the video and I go, "No, no, no, that's not accurate. Let me show you." And then I debunk it. So I make the video to debunk it because I know more than the 3, 4, 5, 10 people that are sending me the links or sending me the video. They're not the only ones that think that. It's like they're pissed off that you're telling them there's no Santa Claus or there's no Easter Bunny or there's no Tooth Fairy. They're mad at you. They want to believe that there's a Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy. So you're right. They will attack you. And trust me, I know that personally. Juan has did a great service for our country. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that like him. I wasn't attacking the guy. I was just saying that people asked me my opinion about him, and I said I didn't really have one, to be honest with you. And I said I tried to watch his videos, and for some reason, it was just rubbing me the wrong way that it couldn't understand why this guy was turning his back to the videos. It's not like we don't know who he is. In the end, Virginia Thomas still texts what she did for a reason. Doesn't matter when it was text, it was text. So the question is, why did she text it? How did she know this? Future proves past. Yeah, Merlina, that's a good question because don't get me wrong, that was crossing my mind. It was like, wait, what the heck is being reported? What did she text? It doesn't matter when. The only thing I was pointing out in Santa's video is what she was doing and going out of her way to mislead people by trying to act as if Fox News was reporting that people were being arrested and were putting on barges and were going to Get Moe when all they were doing is reading Virginia's text. Now, the other part of that is, yeah, it's very interesting that she did put out those texts. But again, I'm telling you from personal experience, don't automatically assume because her husband's the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas that she somehow, some way has definite access to information that we don't. That's not true. I'm not saying she doesn't. I'm just saying don't make that assumption. I hope that makes sense. When I saw it, it did catch me off guard, and I was shocked to see that. But yeah, good question. I was surprised to see that. Pimpy, just like RBG, all things are in good time. Yeah, I'm hoping so because I've been hearing that for so long. I'm like, does anybody got a timeline? Do we have a date? Because people keep saying, well, it just needs to play out. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, seriously, what are we waiting to play out? I don't know how much more you need to play out. It's played out. It really is. I can't remember ever a time in my life I witnessed corrupt intelligence agencies, corrupt politicians, robbing people out in the open, a movement for the New World Order, and a media who just goes out of the way to lie to people's face. It's just unbelievable how in the open it is now. I never thought I would see that. At Pimpy, this video did not show up in the notifications, huh? I ran across it and found it very informative. Makes you wonder what was in it that prompted the gods to suppress it. May God bless you. Thank you, Sonny. I appreciate that. Yeah, that happens a lot. There's a lot of us who are shadow banned, and the only way we can get out of it is if, you guys hit the thumbs up button. And believe it or not, even if for those people who don't like me to hit the thumbs down, as long as there's activity on the thumbs. Now, what you notice on the thumbs down buttons, you don't see any numbers on there. That's because they turned that off on behalf of Biden. Because when he did his speeches, or when the White House posted anything, they would have like 1,000,000 thumb downs, and they would have like 100 positive ones on there. So it just looked bad, and so that's why the thumbs down button doesn't work anymore. Read 11.3 of the Law of the War Manual, Pimpy. There are many ways where tribunals will be used. Treason and conspiracy of is one of those times it can be used. Just saying. Well, Jim, it just so happens I am familiar with that. I am very familiar with this. So if you go and read it, what it says, it applies to commissioned military personnel and non citizens. You see, when that whole thing about enemy combatants was when 9/11 happened and George Bush wanted to prosecute Americans that were fighting on the side of the Taliban. So he just made up his own law. He's the one that said, "Well, I'm gonna label them, enemy combatants, and then I'm gonna send them over to Get Moe, and we're gonna give them a tribunal, and then try them as criminals, and they committed treason and the whole 9 yards." Except for that's not what the Constitution says. He didn't have the right to do that. So it's only happened a couple of times where we actually labeled somebody an enemy combatant. And yes, they were over at Gitmo. They had not been to a tribunal because they were going through the civilian courts here because the people they were citizens of the United States. So they had their constitutional rights protecting them. They went to the Supreme Courts, both of them, and the Supreme Court wouldn't see the case. They just wouldn't rule on it whatsoever. So the Supreme Court has not ruled on whether it is legal or not legal to label an American citizen an enemy combatant. And that includes even if they get charged for treason or conspiracy or insurrection, they don't lose their American citizenship. And since they are Americans, they are protected by the Constitution. I've researched the hell out of that because I was trying to make the argument that you could send them to Gitmo, believe it or not. And I was disappointed. I think at the time, I felt if an American citizen decided to take arms up against our country, then yeah, they should have their constitutional rights stripped from them. They should have their citizenship stripped from them for taking up arms against the country. No, that's not the case, believe it or not. And so the law of war manual talks about treason and conspiracies, trying criminals. It talks about trying commissioned military people and non-citizens in tribunals is what it talks about. But it does not cover citizens. And if you get labeled a treasonous, if you get labeled a conspiracy person, or you get labeled an insurrection, that doesn't mean you lose your citizen. Because people are like, well, yeah, but you lose your citizenship. No, I for it, and I thought that's what should happen, but that's not what happened. And it just goes from one law book to another, and there's nothing in there. The Constitution is very clear on that. You cannot try American citizens in tribunals. Jeff says, look, I just want the truth. I quit listening and watching these people running with every other BS until it makes headlines. I tend not to listen. Jeff is another example why I fuss like I do about these things. Because now Jeff might not lose hope or Jeff might not become depressed, but now you've lost Jeff's attention altogether. Why? Because he's tired of all the bullshit. And that's not what we want. We want to keep people engaged. We want to, have people interact with one another, share information. And that's just another reason why I have my own issues with some of these YouTubers. So thank you, Jeff, for chiming in. Wisdom Knowledge Lover. So if President Trump signed the Insurrection Act, which has never been announced, would that change things in regards to Gitmo tribunals? So it wouldn't be that Trump signs the Insurrection Act because the Insurrection Act has been around since the 1800s, as far as I remember. And it wouldn't change anything. What the Insurrection Act actually covers is whether or not the president can use our military to stop an insurrection. Does the president have the right to use his powers and order our military to go in there against American citizens? No, he doesn't. He can call the Army or Air Force National Guards to go in there and they can act as law enforcement, but our regular military cannot go in there and act as law enforcement agents. Not at all. We're protected under it's called the Posse Comitatus. It forbids any president from using our military against its citizens. I never liked or watched Santa Surfings. My friend does, and I suggest to my friend to stop watching her. She's a fraud, in my opinion. She's a nasty person for getting people's hopes up and is not true or happening or never going to happen. Bad Santa surfing. I mean, I understand that. I know she gives some people hope. If it cheers somebody's day up, then let it be. But if people are starting to condition their life around something that they heard, like when everybody was saying the whole Nasera Jacera thing, like, oh man, all of our debt's going to get paid. People were acting like it was getting ready to happen. I was like, wait, where do you guys hear this? I'm looking into this. I don't know so much that it's necessarily called Nasera Jacera. It's more like a debt jubilee, but there's no official announcement. Nothing's been done. And the reason why I was bothered by it, because I can't tell you how many people go, I'm going to go out right now, buy a brand new car before they do the debt forgiveness. I'm going to go buy a house. I was like, don't do that. Don't do that. They're like, why not? We're going to get our debt forgiven. I was, don't do that. Debt's being very risky. What happens if it doesn't get announced? And then, of course, I get attacked because I didn't believe in it. It's not that I don't believe in it. It's just the way it's being presented out there in the YouTube world. I don't believe in it that way. Now, I've done my research on all the ones that I could prove, and I bring that to you. Or if I bring something that might be related to those subjects that I think could benefit you guys, I'll share it with you. What you do with the information is up to you. Haha, they need room for the parents that the school system wants to get them tagged as terrorists. Snicker, snicker. Yeah, that's something else. You see, now this is what I'm talking about. Our government is getting way out of control. Our intelligence agencies are being weaponized. The Department of Justice is politicized. The fact that they're so easily willing to label parents terrorists for complaining about the subjects being taught at their school, that should unite every American citizen. Democrat, independents, Greenpeace, I don't care what it is, should have rose up and really made it perfectly clear that that type of action is not okay, no matter who the political party is. Controlled op equals pimpy. There you go. See, I'm glad you're pointing that out. And your proof would be what? Because I don't share the same opinion as you. You obviously don't know about them putting elite spirits in the clone bodies, or do I? See, here's the thing. I keep telling people, look, it's not that I don't believe in clones. I know they exist. I know about them, but not the way they're being presented out there. The truth will be known shortly. Where will you be when history is written and told about it is the question. Robert, most likely I'll be in the bar. Most of the time where I'm in there. It is JFK Jr., whether you want to believe it or not. So let me guess, you're talking about Wano Savior. Yeah, no, it's not. Okay, no, I don't believe it, nor should anybody else. Let's go ahead and think about this a different way. So you're trying to tell me that this guy here is this guy? Is this guy? No. No, it's not. My question to you is, who told you that he was JFK Jr.? Did he say that? If all the stories that were being told about JFK Jr. are true, remember it was that the elites killed him so Hillary could take over his spot in the Senate? We heard all these stories. So if that's true, and he's been hiding underground like we heard, him and his father, trying to expose the people responsible for their fake deaths, then why would he all of a sudden start going out and making appearances? Wouldn't his life be threatened? I mean, who's saying that this guy is JFK Jr.? Is what I want to know, is it him saying it? Because it's bullshit. Come on, people. If you guys remember, I'll give you a quick trip down memory lane. Remember when he was JFK Jr.? Yeah, remember everybody, oh my God, for months and months and months. This is JFK Jr. We saw pictures galore all over the threads. This is JFK Jr. Wow, so I'm guessing now he's not JFK Jr., is that right? Remember when this guy was supposed to be JFK Jr.? Yep, him too. He was all over Twitter and everybody said it was JFK Jr. Yep. So he was so which one's the real JFK Jr.? Are we just moving from human being to human being? Is that what we're doing? We're just moving from one person to the next? Saying, oh, that one's JFK Jr. No, not that one. No, how about that one over there? No, not that one. Well, what about that one over there? So which one is JFK Jr.? Is this JFK Jr.? Is that JFK Jr.? Of course that is. This one. Is that JFK Jr.? I mean, which one is it, you guys? Work with me here. So you trust the Hill reports? Do I trust what? I don't trust no media, but that doesn't mean I won't refer to them. What about it? You Pimpy, why are you pimping an article from the Hill? Because that was the first link I grabbed. It's on many different news sources. I just grabbed that particular one. Does that somehow discredit the fact that those texts went out? Because There are several news sources, whether it's Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, The Hill, The Guardian, Rolling Stones magazine. They're all reporting the same stuff, so I guess it doesn't really matter where it comes from, does it? That's JFK Jr. as one. Oh, yeah, see, there you go. Is it? Well, he's done one hell of a job on his disguise because it absolutely doesn't look like him. When I run into Robert Kennedy, I'm going to have to ask him about these things, man. I've heard it so many times. Here's what I want to ask you guys. Did Juan say he was JFK Jr.? Who said that Juan O'Savin was JFK Jr.? I'm just curious about that one. And why should anyone believe you any more than we should believe them? Don't. You shouldn't. You should research anything and everything that I say to see if I'm being honest. If you've been listening to my videos now for a long time, you should have done your due diligence. See, here's the difference always between me and them other people. You see, I don't talk about I have special friends or NDAs or you can't talk to them or I can't tell you where my source is. I put all mine out there underneath the videos so you could go see for yourself. That's the difference between me. I'm transparent. Now ask them people to show you the receipts. Say, you know what? You're telling me this. Where is your proof? Show me the proof. They'll just make excuses because there is no proof. They're just lying. So here's another fan of Juan just claiming it's JFK. Carrie Cassidy is a personal friend of his. It's funny because I remember when Carrie was interviewing Charlie Ward and she gave him a question. She said, if you're as connected as you claim to be, then can you tell me what really happened during the Vegas shooting? And he said, no, I don't know what happened. She says, yeah, I didn't figure because there's only like 2 or 3 people that know the truth and they won't even speak about it in fear that they'll get killed. Then I shot her the email and told her what really happened and it blew her mind. She's like, Dan, you sent this to me on email? I was like, yep. You see, I got friends too. And I know what happened there. So Carrie Cassidy is a personal friend of his. So here's my question. You're saying Juan is JFK. Carrie Cassidy is a personal friend of his. Who? Juan or JFK? Is she saying that Juan is JFK? Is that what she's saying? So is Carrie Cassidy validating that Juan is JFK Jr. is my question, because that would be interesting. I'd have to reach out to Carrie about that one. I'd love to interview her. Maybe there are 2 of them. You never know. There's clones, Thank you, Pimpy. I would like to connect on WhatsApp, but I cannot find you. There's a lot of you out there who have sent me some really nice gifts in the mail, and I appreciate that. I keep meaning to make a video to thank you all and go over what was sent to me. I just get so sidetracked, and then by the time I think about it again, a lot of time has passed. So I hope people don't think that I'm just ignoring them or that I'm not grateful. I appreciate the gifts and kind words and letters that I gotten from everybody who took the time to handwrite letters. Pimpy, you have to admit you don't understand, i.e. the queen. Well, I wouldn't say I understand her. I don't know her. If I hung around her, I'd probably understand her a little bit better. Pimpy, you have to admit you don't understand a lot, and it doesn't make sense to you. Therefore, your stance of listen to you because what you say is the gospel is not the best way for a person to go. No, I don't say that. I've never said that. I never said that I was any better, or I never preached that my word was the golden word or gospel. I never once said that at all. What I always encourage everybody to do is listen to all the YouTubers, you know what I mean? And then do your own research and you'll start figuring out who's credible and who's not. And to bring this up again, I've said this many a times, I'm more than happy to debate any one of these people. Somebody had put in one of the comments to reach out to, I believe the lady's name was Tori. And I did reach out to her and there was no response. So I wasn't sure if Tori was trying to get a hold of me and that's why that person wanted me to reach out to Tori. Or, I don't know. But anyways, I sent her an email. She never responded. So I'm not sure why it was. I was supposed to reach out to whoever Tori was. Pimpy makes the mistake of thinking the entire truth is going to be in an article. Yeah, there you go. See, I just look at one article. That's all I do. Nothing else, just one article. And from there, I determine what is truth and what is false. You have to put the pieces together for many trusted sources. Well, what is your trusted source? So let me ask you this, Cian. You could post it under this video. What resources do you use? You say you have trusted sources. What are your trusted sources? because I'm curious who your guys' trusted sources out there. You know, if you're just saying a YouTuber, yeah, really? What I mean by that is this. How did that person become a trusted source? What have they done to gain your trust other than tell you stories all day on YouTube? What have they done to go out of their way to give you the evidence that you need that proves what they're telling you is accurate and truthful? I leave my sources links down below. Now, whether people want to trust the links or trust the information that they goes to, that's up to them. So, but I love how people go through and say, I'm the one that's not researched. I'm the one that doesn't have the connections. I'm the one that's, the amateur trying to learn. Yeah, no. I read stuff till I'm so sick of it, I can't stand it anymore. For instance, Jim Wiley has stated that his contact from Homeland Security said there are tribunals going on and arrests. So Jim Wiley, he's saying his contact. Well, who's his contact? I know he can't tell you. How about if I came on here and said, look, I got a friend that works for the Department of Defense, one that works for Homeland Security, and one that works for the Pentagon telling me that there's absolutely positively no tribunals going. Does that work for you? Would that all of a sudden make me more credible because I just threw out that I have some special contacts? This is what I'm trying to say to you is what are these people doing to earn your trust that what they're telling you is honest? The only thing I could do is just leave you the links or point out where my source is so that you can go there and see for yourself. Are they even doing that for you? What are they doing to gain your trust? That's the bigger question. Because I'd be floored if all you said was, well, I just listened to their videos and you haven't done anything to validate them. So that's your trusted sources. You just tuned in and you like what they had to say. That's what I said in the video the other day is, are you listening to somebody because you like what they say and they align with your ideas? Or you listen to them because you know for a fact that they're being honest and truthful. There's a difference between the two. So, just because Jim, and I don't know Jim, and I don't mean to pick on Jim, but you brought him up. But just because Jim Wiley says, well, I got a contact in Homeland Security. While we heard Charlie Ward works with Donald Trump. We heard that this Lady Bird works with Donald Trump. I mean, just because they say they do, does that mean they actually do that? I'm not picking on Jim and I'm not picking on you. What I'm trying to say once again is stress is who are your trusted sources and why are they your trusted sources? What have they done to gain your trust? What kind of evidence have they given you that you go, you know what? That proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that what they're saying is accurate and truthful. So I'm sold, or are you just tuning into a show that you like? That's the bigger question. The Homeland contact was not able to say while he was actively on the job. Oh, okay, there you go. See? Do you guys see how this always works out? There's always an excuse for why they can't talk or why they have no proof. But most people out there just make it up. I got this contact person. Yeah, okay. Where's your proof? No, I can't prove it. I got an NDA or I got something, Again, I'm not saying that Jim's lying. I don't know Jim. I'm just trying to make a point is what I'm trying to do, and I'm using Jim since you brought him up. So I get your goal, Pimpy, but you are unfortunately misleading people as well. And how am I misleading? Look, I'm an open book. By any means, if you could prove me wrong, prove me wrong. I'm not so proud that if I'm wrong about something, I'll just act like it's fake and I'll disregard it. No, if I go to it and I go, you know what, you're right, I was wrong. I'll go on and I'll make a correction on a video. I've done it before when I was wrong. I'm not one of these people that have to be right all the time. Here's the invitation to any of you out there. If you could bring undeniable, undisputable proof where I'm wrong, and I don't want to hear some guy who claims to have a friend. I mean, I want actual evidence. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You can never get it. That's why nobody ever takes me up on my challenges. If these people want to come aboard and have a debate, or have a discussion. I hate the word debate. Let's have a discussion. Let me hear what you have to say. If they want to come on my show, they're more than welcome to. But if they're going to talk about all these different subjects, I'm going to want actual proof. Okay, actual proof. I don't want to hear, well, I got this insider guy. Because some of us actually have insider guys. Yeah. So feel free to point out anywhere where I'm misleading people, because if I'm wrong, I'll go back and make the correction. But if you think I'm misleading people just because I don't agree with these kooky stories that are out there that you align yourself with, that doesn't make me misleading. There's a lot you don't know, and an article online is not going to do that. Yeah, again, an article online. Jeez, Manish. I'm going to go out on a limb, CN, and guess that you have not been listening to my videos very long. Because if you have, you definitely couldn't post this and say that. An article online. You do offer some points to think about, but you're not the go-to for clarification on what's going on. You're right, though. We should question always. You should question everything always. But I am the clarification. Has anybody ever proven me wrong? Seriously, has anybody ever went out there and said, hey, I know Pimpy said this, but allow me to present to you some actual real evidence that we can share with Pimpy so that he can see this, and I'll go, oh, well, there you go. See, I didn't know that. I was wrong, and I'll go out and I'll make a correction. I'm willing to do that. Pimpy, I watch your channel, so don't say I'm a bad person talking bad against you, but what I would like to know is tell me about God is the story. Wait, what? I don't think you're a bad person, but what I would like to know is tell me about God is the story about him fake. Which story are you talking about? Do you wear a yarmulke? No, why would I wear one? So you are obviously Jewish. I don't know how I'm obviously Jewish because I'm not Jewish. If there's something about me that makes you think I'm Jewish, I'm not sure what that is because I'm not Jewish. Are you following the story that was told to you, maybe written in the Bible or written in one of your ancient books? I don't have no ancient books. I actually talk straight to the source. I'm not sure where you got that from. I don't wear a yarmulke. I'm not Jewish. And as far as the story of God, people can go out there and establish your own relationship with God, and God is more than happy to share with you. Trust me when I tell you that. Ancient books that you read, who wrote the books? Can you prove that he exists? Does he not exist because you can't see him? Please tell me with all due respect. So I'm not sure what the question is because it's confusing. So let me see if I can kind of sort this out. Does God exist? I know for a fact God exists. And I'm not just saying this, I'm guessing. No, I know for a fact God exists. People always ask me, do you believe in God? No, I don't. And that really blows their mind. And why is that? That's because I know God. I don't believe in God because I know God. And I know right now that's going to need a little more explaining. So pay attention. Believe. To accept something as true. Feel sure of the truth of. Hold something as an opinion, think or suppose. In other words, when you believe in something, you're surrendering to the idea that it might be the truth or it might exist. That's surrendering to it. Okay? So when people say I believe in God, they're surrendering to the idea that God exists. I say I don't believe in God. I know God. No, be aware of through observation, inquiry, or information. Have developed a relationship with someone through meeting and spending time with them. Be familiar or friendly with. You see, I don't believe in God. I know God. So if you're asking me if God exists, God exists. So yeah, I never said that my word is golden and that I'm the gospel and I'm the 100% right person. I just share my opinion based on the information I get, and I share that information with you so you can go see yourself. I've invited people to come on and debate me about certain subjects, but I haven't had any takers. Nobody's been able to bring me undeniable, undisputable proof that what they're saying is accurate as far as people I Get Moe. And I've actually brought evidence to them proving there's nobody there. But I do appreciate you guys chiming in. Look, this is how we work together. We're all trying to get to the truth. Let's be honest. We are. And the only way we're going to get there is have these conversations, whether you agree with them or not. But even if you don't agree with them, bickering back and forth isn't the answer. Just try to figure out why the person feels the way they do and see what you could do to try to convince them otherwise. Make sense? Anyways, that's it for now. You guys hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so because when you do, it helps out the channel. And I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.